Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Today we're diving into why Triller Group Inc. might be facing a serious problem with trading on the stock market, and let's just say it involves some missed deadlines that could make investors quite nervous. It is like the company forgot to pay its bills, and now the landlord is threatening to kick them out. Stick around, because this story has some real eye-opening implications for investors and anyone curious about how the stock market sausage is made. And hey, if you love getting clear, no-nonsense insights from corporate filings just like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We also have a fantastic Discord community where we break down these kinds of things together, and you can find the link in the description below. Alright, so this document we're looking at is called a Form 8. Think of it as a company's way of telling the public about really important stuff that is happening right now, outside of their regular financial reports. And what is happening with Triller Group Incorporated? Well, it looks like they've got a big old compliance problem. The main story here is about Triller Group Inc. getting what is called a delisting determination letter from Nasdaq. Nasdaq is the stock exchange where their common stock and warrants are traded. This letter basically says they're not following the rules, and if they don't fix it, their stock could be delisted, meaning it won't be traded on Nasdaq anymore. Imagine your favorite store suddenly closing its doors. That is kind of what happens to a stock when it gets delisted. The reason for this big threat is that Triller Group Inc. hasn't been filing their required financial reports on time. Specifically, they missed filing their annual report for 2024, and then their quarterly reports for the first 3 quarters of 2025. Stock exchanges like Nasdaq have strict rules about companies keeping investors updated with their financial health. When a company fails to do this, it raises a giant red flag. It makes you wonder what they might be trying to hide, or if they're just completely disorganized. It is like not telling your parents you failed a class. Eventually, they're going to find out, and it is usually not good. And to make matters worse, they received another notice on the 17th of November 2025. This one pointed out another missed filing, the quarterly report for the period ending the 30th of September 2025. So it is not just one missed deadline, it is a pattern of missed deadlines. This really makes you question the management's ability to keep the company running smoothly. Now, Triller Group Inc. did put out a press release on the 21st of November 2025 to let everyone know about this problem. They're saying they've asked for a hearing with Nasdaq to try and fix things. They want to show Nasdaq that they can get back on track. It is kind of like begging for a second chance. Let's look at what is actually traded on Nasdaq. Triller Group Inc. has common stock, which is like owning a tiny piece of the company. The par value, which is a nominal value assigned to stock, is very low at $0.001. They also have warrants, and these are like options to buy their common stock at a certain price. In this case, each warrant gives you the right to buy a quarter of a share for $23. This is important because if the stock price drops significantly, these warrants might become worthless. Now, this filing doesn't give us the latest financial tables themselves, which is a bit of a bummer for us on Corporate Decoder. We love digging into those numbers to see the real financial health. The fact that they are missing filings about their financials is the story here. We can infer that if they are missing these reports, it is probably because they are struggling to compile them accurately or on time. This could be a sign of internal problems, cash flow issues, or even deeper financial distress that makes it difficult to get their books in order. Think about it this way. Imagine you are trying to cook a fancy meal, but you can't find your recipe book. You'd be fumbling around, uncertain about ingredients and cooking times. That is kind of what this situation suggests for Triller Group Inc. They are unable to present their financial recipe to the public and the regulators in a timely manner. The most interesting part here from an investor's perspective is the risk. If a company's stock gets delisted from a major exchange like Nasdaq, it becomes much harder to trade. The price can plummet because fewer people can buy and sell it. Many institutional investors are not allowed to hold or trade stocks that are not listed on major exchanges. So, if Triller Group Inc. gets delisted, it could mean a significant loss in value for existing shareholders. What does this tell us about Triller Group Inc.'s direction? Well, right now, the direction looks shaky at best. The inability to meet basic reporting requirements suggests significant operational or financial challenges within the company. This isn't a sign of a company growing and innovating, it is a sign of a company struggling to keep its head above water with fundamental administrative tasks. One major risk is that the underlying business might not be performing well enough to generate the revenue and profits needed to maintain listing compliance. Another risk is that the management team might not have the necessary expertise or capacity to handle the complexities of a publicly traded company. The biggest opportunity for Triller Group Inc. right now is to successfully navigate this delisting threat. If they can present a credible plan to Nasdaq, file all their missing reports, and demonstrate a pathway to consistent compliance, they might be able to avoid delisting and regain investor confidence. However, that is a big if. Looking at this report, the overall conclusion is that Triller Group Inc. is in a precarious position. The core issue isn't about the company's products or services, but about its ability to function as a responsible, transparent public entity. Investors should be extremely cautious. The immediate concern is not about revenue growth or market share surprises, but about whether the company can simply remain listed on a major stock exchange. So, what is my take on this, honestly? It is a red flag the size of Texas. Missing financial filings repeatedly is a serious issue. It makes it impossible for investors to make informed decisions, and it suggests a fundamental breakdown in corporate governance at Triller Group Inc. while they are fighting to stay listed. The fact that they've gotten this far down the road is worrying. Unless they can present a very compelling case and a clear path forward very quickly, the downside risk for investors is substantial. Alright, that is our breakdown of Triller Group Inc. Situation based on this 8K filing. What is your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives into corporate filings. And don't forget to check out the Discord community link in the description for even more insights and discussions. Thanks for watching, see you next time.